Hello, my loves. I'm Ellie Frost. Thank you so much for being on my channel, where we are talking about the multi-dimensional approach to rapidly and radically healing and transforming during and after narcissistic abuse. And on this video, I'm going to talk to you about breaking trauma bonds and breaking psychic ties with narcissists for good. So many of you will know a trauma bond is an unhealthy attachment, enmeshment we have to the narcissist. It's very compelling. The more they hurt us, the more we withdraw from them, the more we want them back. We want the person who caused the pain to take it away. It is a very destructive cycle. And the reason why trauma bonds are so strong is because during narcissistic abuse, right, we get emotionally and energetically hijacked by the narcissist. And so we have a very strong attachment to them, and we get like withdrawal symptoms, like if we were coming off drugs or alcohol without them, not because they're good for us, not because they make us feel good, but because they know how to dysregulate our system psychically, emotionally, and energetically, which over time ultimately will definitely physically make us ill. So there's trauma bonds and the psychic bond, which is you might not feel as trauma bonded to the narcissist, like desperate to get them to try and take your pain away by giving you love, affection, connection, all the things they're incapable of, but you might be ruminating. So you're psychically enmeshed with the narcissist when you're constantly ruminating about them. They keep coming into your mind. You keep maybe thinking things should be different. You keep going over and over again, if you could have changed it, what did you do wrong? Just thoughts that are normally quite heavy, normally going over and over the same thing, right? But they keep popping into your head, especially, and you'll know if you're under psychic attack, the version of them that could be different, like the illusion they paint. So you're not really connecting to the real them, the one that's actually caused all the pain and is the abuser. You're fantasizing, you're back in the joint fantasy in your psychic thoughts of who they could have been, right? Who you thought they were at the beginning, who they manipulated you into believing they could be. And these things cross over, trauma bonding and psychic attack. But I want to be very clear with this here, right? Because the reason I teach Sovereign, my program is called Sovereign, is your ability to be psychic attacked or trauma bonded is in direct proportion, right, to how sovereign you are in your energetic field and in yourself. Let me explain. Yeah, when you are sovereign, just bear this in mind, maybe note it down, in your energy field, which is called like energetic resilience, and also a sovereign source to self of your own needs, desires, and emotion, and that includes emotional needs and desires, then you're impenetrable, right, at varying degrees. Does that mean that you will never on the planet encounter another narcissist? No. You might, but how they'll impact you will not be the same. They will not be able to derail you, trauma bond you, and keep you in devastation and psychic attack for very long. So the thing to work on isn't so much how do I cope with narcissists, manage narcissists, because by doing that, you're an energetic match to a life of narcissists being around you. And quite frankly, that's not what I teach. I teach freedom. I teach liberation. I teach sovereignty. I teach following your dreams and leaping towards your purpose. I teach feeling whole in yourself and connecting with people at a deep, intimate level. And that's not available to you if you're committed to just managing relationships with narcissists in ways that you're just not getting as hurt, but you're not really finding the thing you really want, which is love, approval, support, security, connection, intimacy, joy, peace, right? Which is available in healthy relationships. So while I also do teach many tools and communication tools and strategies for if you are having to deal with a narcissist, how to do it, right? The most important thing in this isn't necessarily your strategy in doing that. It's how much impact they can have on you. Because when you're sovereign, it doesn't really matter what they do. You've found your independence fundamentally, right? Your independence emotionally, physically, spiritually, and energetically. Without that, you're relying on a narcissist to fill a need that they're incapable of feeling, and especially not in a healthy way, right? So Detachment physically is one part, but I teach all the time going no contact is not enough, because if you're still psychically and emotionally hijacked, if you're still wondering how it could have been, if they still live in rent free in your head or have the ability to derail you in your thought energy or you know, in your fear of what they could do to you next or what might happen next, or will you meet another one and can you trust people, they're still running the show, right? Sovereignty is the only answer. So what does that look like? Yeah. It looks like we cultivate a relationship with ourselves. It looks like when we work on our trusting ourselves. It looks like when we back ourselves. It looks like when we stop trying to overfix ourselves, right? Or other people, and we actually align with our soul. It looks like taking authority over our life. It looks like stepping into our power. How much you will be psychically attacked, energetically attacked, and still in this cycle is going to depend on how much you've claimed your personal power and sovereignty, right, over your life. So the thing to focus on is that, right, the transformation, the coming home to you. The thing to focus on isn't so much, because I mean, it's very simple to understand strategies around how to deal with narcissists. There is a grey method, there is a stonewalling method, there is a not giving them your emotional energy, there is not oversharing with them. You know, basically the minimum amount that you have to do to get by. But ultimately, if you're in a job you hate with narcissistic people that's not making you happy, you've also got to be investing in your personal development and growth, financially, emotionally, physically, and with your attention. I teach team, time, energy, attention, and money needs to be put into yourself. If we're sitting there going, well, it's not fair, then I'm telling you, you're saying that you're not worth it to yourself. I put a lot of time, energy, attention, and money into investing in my personal growth. That's the only reason we set ourselves free, right? We put ourselves first. So otherwise, your time, energy, attention, and money ends up keep going on trying to heal, keep going on trying to deal with them, keep going on things that like really aren't necessarily moving you forward. Because if you're not evolving, if you're not coming into a truer version of you, if you're not learning how to really understand your values, your needs, your desires, your dreams, and how to get them met by yourself, which makes you an energetic match to everything you want, including love, including relationships, right? None of us want to just be isolated and in defense. Then if your life just becomes about managing being around narcissistic people and how to just damage mitigate rather than run towards what would set your heart on fire, your soul on fire, and your heart on fire, there's still a piece you're missing that will, because you're not going to find fulfillment there basically, and you're not going to find you there either. The whole thing about healing from narcissistic abuse is about healing the relationship fundamentally we have with ourselves, because all narcissistic abuse is an erosion of you. It's an erosion of who you are. It's an erosion of your identity. It's a addiction to basically finding love, survival, support, validation outside of ourselves, right? So we have to come into a spiritual awakening of our own self, like our self being our kind of ego, our physical human identity, and our soul. Those two things have to be in alignment. At that point, you won't tolerate abuse. You won't tolerate it whatsoever. Now, I am not saying, because I've been there, you might not be currently in a trap. You might feel very trapped. Financially, perhaps, is a big one, because narcissists always will put you in traps because they know ultimately you're going to wake up and you're going to want to break free. So they do as much as they can to make that difficult, right? Ultimately, though, still, you've got to, you know, when you claim your financial independence, when you claim your choice over your own life, when you claim your right to the freedom to choose who you have in your life, when you say no to dangerous and abusive behaviors from others, right, your whole life can change. But the universe can only meet us where we are, yeah? So I get questions about how do I do this and how do I stop talking to them? You stop talking to them and you work on yourself, but you've got to understand that, like, you've got to decide that you are choosing a better life for yourself, right? You are choosing to set yourself free. You are choosing a better quality of life, right? Which doesn't coexist with abusive behaviors from others. It doesn't coexist with that. You are choosing to get to know yourself. You are choosing to live your values. Because if your values and boundaries and standards aren't aligned in life, right, with the way you conduct yourself, they're not really true. You're not living true to you, right? So if my value is love and connection, but I'm allowing fake friends and lack of connection in my close relationships, then I'm not living that value, and that's always going to hurt me on the inside. When we're not living true to ourselves, it's the biggest injury we do to ourselves. In a narcissistic cycle, there's no place for you to be true to yourself. You have to be what the narcissist needs you to be. So sovereignty is the absolute antidote to it, right? But that involves personal development and growth. It doesn't involve just healing. Just healing is it doesn't hurt so much anymore, right? But personal development and growth is I've got a commitment to becoming the best version of me, and to honouring my purpose on this planet, to honouring who I'm meant to be, and to learn how to live in integrity with who I really am, right? And that's the awakening part. So if you want to join Sovereign, get in this week. The price is going to go up next month, and it may go up after that as well. So I'm not sure how I'm going to run it going forward. So it's an opportunity to get live coaching. It's definitely people break free in that program, right? They break free from those materials. Everybody in there has made progress. There's no doubt about it. But my focus isn't on how do you put up with shit in your life. My focus is on how do you create a life you love. That's our focus here on this channel. Lots of love, guys. I'll speak to you soon.